Yeah, you're like, so you gay and she gay? I'm like, yes, she's gay.
Oh, she is gay?
Welcome to hell.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to
Hello.
Hell Week, the podcast where we celebrate and discuss, and are never mean to children, all things children's theater.
I'm Jacob Kaplan.
I'm Jake Arlow.
And today is a huge day for me.
Yes.
And Jake, but me especially.
You mostly.
I would say that the show we're about to do is the most special show to be watching in a high school context that could exist. It is, I would say, maybe my favorite musical.
Oh
and
my
I
gosh.
think I would say it is either my favorite, definitely top three, or favorite musical. Without further adu, today's episode will be Company.
Woo! I do have to say that this whole week I haven't had a song not from Company stuck in my head, but so Daniela, my girlfriend, again, regular listeners will know, had not seen Company. Now she has seen Company, but
And this is the one.
Yes, but she was like, she did not know the music from it, and she just kept singing the following phrase. She goes, "Company, it's gonna be company," and so I've had that refrain stuck in my head, and not any of the actual songs from Company.
That is really great. That is, I will often have, like, when people who especially don't know Sondheim hear just like me or my friends sing like random Sondheim lyrics.
When are
like,
you randomly singing Sondheim lyrics?
It's specifically with Hazel Streeter, if you remember.
Yes,
her,
of
like,
course.
We either do a thing where we just start breaking out into a Sondheim thing or something that could sound like a Sondheim song, and then the third person, Michael Colton, who I don't think you know.
I have no idea who that is.
He was like, "This man does not know what a song is." And then I was like, "God, who are you? Everyone in 1950s musical theater?"
Until literally the musical Company came out and Sondheim was finally recognized for his genius. But yeah, just to briefly, again, this is a great segue, to briefly just talk about Company. And we are going to have a guest. We're just recording a little intro before our guest comes on. And this time I'm actually here, which was a whole thing last time. Anyway, so yeah, Company is, of course, a Sondheim musical, our first Sondheim musical, which is a huge moment for us. Sondheim, obviously, the most iconic composer and lyricist of all time, I would say. Modern composer and lyricist of all time.
I would agree.
And yeah, this show came about because the book writer George Firth wrote 11 one-act plays examining marriage in New York. And then Sondheim was brought in and made it actually good and wrote songs, so it wasn't just 11 one-act plays examining marriage in New York, because that sounds so fucking boring. And then at the 1971 Tonys, fun fact, it was the only time that music and lyrics were split into two awards categories, and Sondheim won both of them. So, yeah.
They tried to cut him down, and
yes, exactly. And yeah, so let's just quickly do our own histories with Company. I think you should go first because you have a much longer and storied history with it than me.
Well, the funniest part is when I told Jake we were doing Company, I was so excited about it because Company is my favorite show. Jake, like, tortured me. She was like, "Oh, this is great for you. Like, you're going to get to relive your glory days," because she thought that I had been in and starred in Company at my high school.
I don't know where I got this information from, but I think you just acted. The way you act around the show made me think.
Truly the only logical explanation would be, but, God, no, I would dream to have done this in my high school.
Yeah.
I just love Company because I just love the show. I think that I love the music and the lyrics, and I think it holds up. There's like some stuff that is like not how people talk anymore.
Yeah.
I think if you're any musical theater boy who has a baritone range, you got to have Being Alive in your back pocket as an audition song.
That's me doing it.
That's kind of the range. And it really is all about, can you hit that last note? And if you can hit that last note, that it sort of unlocks a whole world of musical theater roles you're eligible for. So, I mean, being alive, any musical theater guy worth his salt knows,
has that right in his back pocket.
Has that right. It's that and Corner of the Sky.
Oh,
like
yeah.
The two.
Yeah, but those are two different ranges, though.
Well, both
Are
do
they?
the same thing of going to the same high note, except for the falsetto at the end of Corner of the Sky. Anyway, so Company, I love the music. I like. I can't. And I've never been a 35-year-old in New York City
Not yet.
in the year 19. Not yet. I'm getting there.
And
It's
you
something to aspire
invented
to.
time travel as well.
And I invented time travel, which is really helpful. So funny enough, though, the only two productions of Company I've ever seen have been the most recent revival, both in London and in the U.S., where they have gender bented, and Bobby is played by a woman.
Wait, had you only listened to the soundtrack then, or had you watched like YouTube videos?
I had only
or not the
listened to the
soundtrack. Oh my god, the cast recording.
I had only listened to the cast recording, both the original and the revival. And I actually have I can go deep on this. I think that the revival,
you don't have to,
is sort of a stronger album than the original. But when I watched it for the first time, like as a full show, I was like, holy shit, there's so much dialogue.
It's
like,
literally, you could tell that it was a one-act play before it was a musical. Yeah, it's
absolutely
so much dialogue.
Anyway, just some of my favorite lines are in this show, like one-off, like devastating, like, I'm such a bitch and I live in New York kind of lines. Like, and it's just chock full of them. Some of Sondheim's best rhymes.
Hello.
Okay, hey everyone, editing Jake here. I love saying that. I feel like that's such a classic podcaster / YouTuber. Again, if you're listening, you can watch. If you're watching, you can listen. Though I guess if you're watching, you're also probably listening. But anyway, at this point, our guest came into the studio, so we got a little bit cut off. So just to briefly, I guess I'll tell you my personal connection to Company in like 4 sentences, but really I hadn't seen Company. It felt like a really big gap in my musical theater knowledge until I think 2020, when I watched the pro shot of the Raul Esparza Company production, where all of the cast members are also musicians, which is so iconic, and there's just a great video of it on YouTube if you'd like to see it. I think Raul Esparza is just like so incredible, and I watched it with my mom. That was super fun. I also, since we didn't this episode do our sort of usual disclaimer, I don't know if you can hear my cat in the background. I also just wanted to add that, again, this is a podcast celebrating the world of children's theater. We are always constantly in awe that kids are brave enough to get on stage. We are literally just trying to like relive, honestly, high school, which is so silly and hilarious of us. Synonyms, I guess. It is all with a spirit of lighthearted fun, and I can't wait for you to hear this episode. I also just wanted to say, unfortunately, this specific production is not on YouTube. This was a little Dropbox link. I think the guest's mom might have burned a little DVD. But yeah, it's a great production and it's a great guest. And I hope that you'll stick around and that you are also here to celebrate this iconic world with us. Oh my God, Flun, it's okay.
All right, everyone. We are truly so excited to have today. I would say kind of a lord of all things musical theater comedy in the online space.
Sondheim specifically.
In the Sondheim specific space. We're going to start with some of his high school credits. You may know him as having played Slim in the Piedmont High School production of Oklahoma, or you may know him from playing Tiny Tom / Dr. Below / Cop in the Youth Musical Theater Company's production of Urinetown. Let's throw it all the way back to Piedmont High School, where he also played Lord Evelyn Oakley in Anything Goes. Let's go all the way back to Youth Musical Theater Company, where he played Lieutenant Joseph Cable in South Pacific. We're getting bigger in the roles here.
Oh boy, okay.
YMTC then had him grace their stage one more time as playing Cliff Bradshaw in the production of Cabaret, but not before Piedmont High School could get him back to play Ren McCormick in Footloose. Now, in addition to that, of course, the role that I know this person best for is playing the joint roles of barista / roulette dealer / Leo in the much under-discussed National High School Theater Institute 2015 Cherubs production of Bob, A Life in 5 Acts. It's none other than the one, the only Tyler Joseph Ellis.
Oh my God. That is the only way I want to be introduced.
Yeah.
I want all my high school credits. Nothing matters after 2016. Nothing.
Did you send these in chronological order?
That's a great question. You read them sort of in order. I did Cabaret right before Footloose was the one thing that might be incorrect.
Got it.
We're gonna definitely get into this, but how can you just briefly say how your roles differed, maybe directorially, how the casting worked between Piedmont High School and the youth musical theater program?
So excellent question, Jake. Thank you. Piedmont High School was obviously just my high school, and I was lucky enough to have. So I had a theater teacher there who it was actually sort of a program. Like you had to take acting 1 and then acting 2, and then you had to be asked to be in advanced acting, and they did the plays. So that's actually completely separate. I didn't even give you my play credits. I only gave you the musicals. So separately from that were the musicals, which were not directed by my theater teacher, but more the dance teacher in the school. And so auditions for the plays in my high school were you had to be in advanced acting, so having 2 years of acting experience under your belt. And then you get to do the plays. So in the beginning of the year, you had to do some sort of 90-second, you could audition for it could be up to 4 plays. And you had to cleverly come up with an audition that would showcase roles. It was very cool, actually, and taught me a lot about preparation. So bless you, Kim Taylor, for challenging us. And then the way the musicals worked was just sort of a cattle call vibe. And so many people auditioned. Our high school musicals had 60 people in them. It was so large. So that was that own thing. And then YMTC, or Youth Musical Theater Company, is a youth community theater in the Bay Area that I started doing things through my sophomore year of high school. And it was sort of kids all throughout the Bay Area could come and audition. And the shows were super high quality, full orchestra, everything. It was cuckoo bananas. And so I did Urinetown there, as you mentioned, and then South Pacific, then Cabaret, and then Company, which perhaps we will be discussing today.
Oh,
it sounds
we will.
It sounds like they were more sort of mature productions
yes.
at this other place versus
exactly.
the classic 60, 80, 100 people on stage high school theater vibe.
You're correct. Yeah. People did, not get into the YMTC musical.
Which
so
it showed, really. It did
Oh,
show
is that right?
Did
it show?
Yeah.
I even wrote this in my notes because, for frequent listeners of the podcast, you will know that these shows that we're watching have anywhere between 60 to 120 people in them usually. And I was just so delighted to see an opening number to a show that didn't involve 50 kids stomping on the ground and assaulting
except for the 4 ensemble members who were constantly in the
we're
dark.
gonna have to get to them.
We'll get to it. We will get to it.
Oh, sorry, Jacob. Go ahead.
I had 2 questions. The first one about your high school, one about YMTC. So, I guess let's start with YMTC. Who are the types of who is doing YMTC in the Bay Area?
That's a really, really good question. So, there's a few different types of people that have done when I first did Urinetown, there was people in the cast that were in 9 productions before. So sometimes it's people who just love theater and can't get enough of it and want to do it. Some people that they don't have a very good theater program in their high school, so they do that. And then some people who, like myself, just wanted to or maybe I'm more the first one. Just as someone who I wanted a little bit to up the ante in terms of can I act? I was in high school. I'm rambling, but in high school I was figuring out so desperately, like, do I want to pursue this in college? I came to it pretty late. Like, some people grew up going to Stage Door or French Woods or whatever, and I was playing lacrosse. Like, so I got to high school and really hit the ground running with theater, but I was like, if I in 4 years have to figure out if I'm going to go to college for this, I have to figure out if not only I can get the leads in my high school, but if I can like get leads in, the community theater and I still love it, that kind of thing. So I really immersed myself in the thing and
Interesting. Okay.
That's those are the sort of people that audition, just people who took it seriously enough
really seriously
to do it, and they did. Oh my God, I learned so much.
I mean, the where are they now is a separate conversation that we'll have later on in this, because I am curious if these where, because often in these shows, especially if it's the high school shows, you're seeing kids who are like, you're just trying this out. Do you even want to be here? But like, this is, if you're doing community theater, like that is such an active choice.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's great background for the community theater of it all. I want to just touch on, and I less so because I want to touch on your high school specifically. Piedmont High School. Where did theater fit into it? It sounds pretty intense from the description you gave, at least for the plays, but like, who were the theater kids in the school? Was it
to add to that, were you the only person from your school doing the YMTC?
Right.
Or were you one of many? Like,
so
what was that like?
I just want to let you both know that this is quickly becoming my favorite podcast. This is like exactly the kind of stuff that I ask all my. I'm like, so what shows did you guys do in high school? And they're like, why do you care? I'm like, it's important for me to know. So this podcast,
and I think that there really is an audience for people who want to know the exact specifics of someone's high school theater experience and nothing else about their lives.
No, I hope you realize, like, I am your target audience. So the fact that I'm a guest is just I'm on it. Okay, so sorry, I just had to. You were asking me these questions, and I was just grinning from ear to ear. Okay, so to answer your questions, the theater program, Tyler, it was essentially class. Like, it was an elective, but there wasn't like a drama club. It was a class that you had to take. So what was interesting about the kids who did theater in my high school, it was the complete opposite almost of YMTC, in that a lot of these people were like, oh, this is my, like, they were star athletes or like really, really, really smart, and that they just happened to sign up for acting when their freshman year and like have a knack for it and love it, and they wanted it to be a part of their lives. And so by the time you're in advanced acting, there's always a few people in class that are like, we plan on pursuing this. And then there's the majority of the other folks that are like not going to study it. They might continue and do a cappella in college, or they might do like some student productions in college. But the vast majority of the people are there because they have a weird talent for it, and they want to keep doing it, and they found community in this space. So it was very cool to be in advanced acting, at least from my perspective. I'm, of course, very biased, but we really idolized the people in the plays when we were freshmen, because it was like all these, and I in middle school, I had a friend whose older sister was in acting, so like I saw all the plays when I was in middle school. They still to this day, I'm like starstruck when I see some of them. I'm like,
a middle school production, if you're in middle school and you're watching a high school production, that's professional
it's Broadway.
theater.
It's Broadway.
It's
Broadway.
Yeah.
So, and some of these people, and what's weird is that in my small school, like the people that have come out of it, the people that maybe took it seriously, Chloe Feynman of SNL went to my high school.
Okay.
So Chloe was in the productions. Same with Zach Pizer, who's a Broadway star now, and Sarah Yarkin, who is like an actor that works. It's weird that the people that end up, that continue.
Wait, before you keep going, can I also ask you,
please?
And because I think this will color my microphone. I think this will color my understanding of the story you're telling.
Yes.
Were there people who continuously applied to be in advanced acting but never got in, or at the point when you were in the first 2 years, did you just sort of automatically get in?
No. So what's sad now is that I was literally just on the phone with my theater teacher, and because of the pandemic,
which is so telling. But
it's really giving
all the time.
Yeah.
I talk to her at least once a month. I love her. Okay. So that's also important for you to know. So because of the pandemic, all these kids don't have passion for the performing arts. So right now, at least in my town, so in my high school, though there was just a renovation of the theater, it's like a beautiful state-of-the-art facility now, which was not the case when I was there. Almost no one is signing up for acting. No one is signing up for acting. There used to be a bolstering a cappella scene. There was like 120 kids, and it was like show choir, full Glee vibes.
120 kids?
No, it was like
Jesus
people,
Christ.
like everyone that was their elective. Now that's actually no more because there weren't enough signups. And then so studio art in my high
Wow.
school is the thing that people are doing, because you can do it yourself. You don't have to really put yourself out
Yeah.
there. I think the pandemic really is changing the landscape of some of these high school theater programs, mine included. So that being said, in my time, there were always more people that didn't get in than got in. So the big
Wow.
acting 3, acting 4 talk that you had, like it came sort of in the spring of your sophomore year, or if you got to it late, perhaps your junior year, and you like would sit down with the theater teacher and she would tell you if you were in or not. And it was, you can imagine, pretty brutal for some people, because plenty of people
Oh
that
my
really
God.
wanted to get in did not get in. It's not like, yeah, it's bad.
Was there a way for them to continue acting in any way, or did they have to just audition for this huge musical theater production and that was the only way they could continue acting at school?
Oof, now that you ask that question, sort of no. There wasn't. Some people wanted to remain involved and like, oh, but I still really want to work on the productions in some way, shape, or form, or that kind of thing. And that would happen. And then occasionally we would need, like a play would be too big, or we would just need more bodies or something. And then people who perhaps had a passion for it, didn't get in, would then be in it in some way.
That would be me. That would be me.
Yeah.
I would be like, I'm doing stage crew, and now what? I'm like on the stage.
I'm
in the
on
background.
stage. So
Yeah.
it was really like, it was kind of brutal. And it's
Wow.
one of those things where you wouldn't retake acting 2. That would be like strange, because then you would, all the secrets of, all the lesson plans and everything would be given away. So it was sort of just like, but I think Sarah Yarkin is a perfect example. If you don't know her, she's in everything now. She's in like every spooky thing, I feel like, these days. But she, I think, was one of the people that didn't get into advanced acting, but decided to keep studying it and do like ACT in San Francisco and that kind of thing. And she turned out and she actually has a great relationship with my theater teacher. So it's interesting that, it doesn't mean that
The fact that she has any relationship at all with your theater teacher is so like,
isn't that funny?
It's,
No,
it's
people
very,
it's really, I mean, she was the first adult I successfully came out to. Like she like is. That was
was gonna be my next question.
Yeah, you're like, so you gay and she gay? I'm like, yes, she's gay.
Oh, she is gay? Because I feel like that's
she's a
pretty
lesbian.
rare. Oh,
Lesbian
queen.
woman.
Wait, that lesbian woman?
Lesbian woman.
Really, I feel like usually, I mean, I never came out to any of my teachers in high school because I didn't know that about myself. But
Yeah.
if I had, it would have been my English teachers, who were all just the straightest women on earth. But now
yeah.
I would call them sort of mother, and they
Mother,
had
they're
mother
mother.
qualities. It is actually really beautiful that she was a lesbian.
Yes.
Like that's
and
that's
same. What's
lovely.
weird with YMTC, the artistic director who directed all of the shows, also a lesbian woman. So I had these two badass lesbian women directing me and everything, and they were like, it was very important for me. And they were so excellent and comforting, and yeah, it was awesome.
That's beautiful.
And now to flip it to the YMTC.
Jacob's like, stop talking.
I'm
about
like, I can't
gay
relate.
shit.
I'm
Editing
bored.
this.
Bad. No, thank you. But to get into the YMTC of it all, as we are pivoting into just
we do need to get into the show because there's enough to talk about for the next 12 hours. So
I'm here for 12 hours. I'm ready.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. Good. You're good.
high school. Okay, so high school director is this amazing sort of like mentor, motherly, and person you build this relationship with. As people sometimes will tend to have with their high school theater directors. Let's flip it over to YMTC. Who's directing these shows? Who are the adults involved in these shows?
Great. So when I was there, it changed shortly after I left, but that we don't care. So when I was there, there was the resident artistic director of the company, Jennifer Bozing. She also directed every show. So she sort of she had been running the ship for like about 10 years when I got there. It's like a very well-oiled machine, and they keep growing. It's incredible what they do. And so there was also a resident music director, Dave Meschler. So Jennifer and Dave were this like dream team duo, and they did not shy away from doing really dark, really mature shows, and they really believe that people can do it. Like
17-year-olds can be 35.
Exactly. But perfect example. Like no youth company is doing company. And I mean prior to my getting there, they had just done Ragtime, Parade, Merrily We Roll Along. They weren't scared of doing that kind of material. So they were also mother and father, I guess. Father feels weird, but they
could both be mother.
They're Jacob,
don't.
amazing people. Yeah, for sure.
They're both mother.
They're both mother.
They're both mom.
They're both
They are
mommy.
both mom.
They're both mom. Jacob says with a terrified face. But yeah, so those are the people running the ship. And they, are also mentors, and I still keep in touch with them as well.
Yeah. Okay. That's I think we have like, unless there's anything else that will color our viewing of this production of Company, I think we just need to like get into the actual show, because this is such a rich text. So let's start. I would love to hear the start, since we have you. How did the audition process go? Were you a senior at this point?
Yes, I was a fresh senior.
A fresh senior. Okay. And were you auditioning going like, I have no competition for Bobby, like I am going to be Bobby? Or were you auditioning like against 100 other potential Bobbies? I would love to know this.
Oh my God, yeah. I love this podcast so much, because I love reminiscing about this kind of shit. So I had just gotten back from Cherubs, where I met Jacob. So we just had this
Oh my God, I did not know that you knew each other.
We knew each other in high school.
Cherubs.
We were at a summer program together. And so I had just had this magical 5 weeks. I really felt a lot more secure in my abilities, because I mean you're with people from all over the country, and I'm like, hey, I can hold my own in this scenario. So I went into the fall of my senior year, and also the way boys' voices work is that it takes a little bit longer for our voices to mature. And for me, like if you look at when I was Lieutenant Cable in South Pacific 2 years prior, it was like I didn't have any vibrato. I like didn't really know what to do with my voice. Suddenly I came back my senior year and suddenly was able to sing a little bit better. And I had vibrato all of a sudden. So I actually came into the audition process, and they would tell me this later, sort of this like dark horse person, because there was a couple people, okay. There were a few people that had been in shows before that have had the vocals that I think people maybe assumed it would go to them, but I came in hungry.
And can I ask, were they people, well, and it showed, were these people who were auditioning for Bobby who were not the dark horses, were these people also in the show?
Yes.
And if so, can I guess who they were?
Yes,
Oh my God, I can guess who they were.
So much. No, you'll totally be able to tell.
Yeah. I think when we get to sort of some of their featured moments, we can 100%. Discuss that. I mean, there were, again, it really also shows that like this is a very selective group of people, because it's a small cast, except again the weird choice to have 4 people constantly in the dark.
Ensemble members.
And B, like there was no one. Unlike last week, we watched The Music Man, where no one wanted to be on stage. Oh. Everyone wanted to be on stage, and that was a beautiful change from last week.
I'm so glad I could provide that.
People are excited, I think, to do a youth production of Company for the reason you're saying of Music Man is like, really, we got to do Music Man again, mm-hmm. but like Company is like, this is not usually happening.
Not at all.
It did that joy and surprise did show itself on the stage.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah, it did. And so you auditioned, you were the dark horse. When you got Bobby, do you remember sort of where you were? What was your emotional state? Like, how did you feel in that moment?
I had during callbacks, sort of toward the end, they don't hide anything from you. They don't like play the games that some other people. So they were, if they like you, you're probably going to be reading with everyone, and like then other people will be dismissed or stop reading, like, because they're like, we know who we want. So what ended up happening later in the day was that by the end of the day, I was the only one reading for Bobby. So I was like,
okay,
unless there's like someone had a conflict that I wasn't unaware of and they had to leave or something, like
that would have been so devastating.
So I came home. Can you imagine? I came home like and walked in, and my mom was like, how was it? And I was like, I think I got it. But I was like, I obviously don't want to be excited. Then the cast list, it was an email. It was always an email. And I like was so thrilled. I was so excited. I was just, because Company was my introduction to Sondheim. I begged them to do Company 2 years prior. I was like, oh, you guys should do Company. They're like,
and thank goodness they didn't.
Yeah,
because you would not have been.
I wouldn't have been.
lucky.
It would just everything in there. It's right time, correct? And I was elated. I was so freaking excited because I hadn't really been a proper like lead like that in YMTC yet. I had been really good supporting characters, like so, but this was so unabashedly the lead of the show. So I was a little scared, but also very excited.
Okay, and that is beautiful. And now we're in the show. We got it.
We're in the
we're in.
show. I'm just looking at just my notes overall for
Yeah.
this, and I will say there's two big themes that are kind of come up are like, a great part of any children's theater is just watching kids do adult things.
Yeah.
Company
It starts moment one also.
I
And
do
it's
an
not-
adult thing.
And
Yes.
it's not, and the reason why Company is so perfect for this, it's not adult things like you're a lawyer or you're like going over, it's adult things like mundane, like the
Pour
banality
some
of
scotch.
adults.
Right, exactly. You're
life.
pouring a drink. What was
Pouring a
what
drink.
was the
I was
what was the
shaking.
beverage?
Yeah, it was.
What was the drink?
Iced tea, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
My first question was, you poured a drink at about 1:10.
Yeah.
Had you, Tyler Ellis, drank? Were you
That is a
drinking?
really good question.
I had
you.
so my town was a disaster and it was very small and there wasn't a lot to do. So, and it was an affluent town, a lot of parents that didn't care about their liquor cabinets. So I was actually drinking well before this show, though it probably does not show because I look like I'm like holding a
let's
strange...
just do. So we're gonna just play that real
shit.
quick.
This is rich. Okay.
So okay, let's get. Oop. Oh, here we go. Okay, so you. Ooh. Oh.
Ooh, big file.
Yeah, big file. So you're putting the drink down. And also just, can I say, the most tasteful credits we have seen. The little sound design, Marlo Anderson. Like, this is very tasteful.
Give the credit where credit is due. Come on.
Exactly. And also, I have now that we're paused on this just shot of you, A, hair so slicked back. B,
The slickest.
Can we talk about the stage and the set? You committed to decades. I think this is the first time we've really had like a decade theme.
Oh yeah.
In this podcast, can you talk about where you? I mean, it's giving very much 60s,
Late
like
60s.
late 60s. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess true to when it was written.
Exactly.
Was that the concept? It was like, okay,
100%.
we are okay.
It's like we're in
Yeah.
1969, I think is when it takes place, and do all and we even have like a apparently time period appropriate answering machine on that table. Like,
Okay.
they're not messing around, and you can clock the full ass orchestra behind the set. Like, look at them.
Why was it behind?
This space is weird. This space they still use, but it's very cool. So certain shows work really, like Cabaret was amazing in this space, and Sweeney Todd in this space is amazing. It's a very cavernous space in downtown Oakland called the Malonga Cascalord Center for the Arts, and it's very strange and very deep. And so they were behind because for sound purposes, it was like they got to be behind us. And there was just so freaking many of them. So yeah.
And like full adults.
No,
Like,
they're
there were
adults. It's a
balding
professional.
men there.
It's a professional orchestra. Every single show they have is a professional orchestra.
They sounded amazing.
Yeah.
Which thank God, because again, last week we heard the foulest
my
noises
God.
coming from a
Oh
pit.
my
So
God.
really
Ungodly.
refreshing.
I was gonna say a couple that yes, I even wrote, I said, why does Company have to be in the 70s, or like that it was a specific choice to have it here? Also, because in the revival,
they
where
changed
I
that.
actually saw Tyler in person.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah, we were at the same performance.
Yes, we were.
You both
that-
they needed extra people on stage, and you were both milling about in the back
Yeah,
of the
we were in the back.
stage.
Like, get out
Yeah.
there. But that's a contemporary, like that wasn't, so it doesn't have to be. With this, it felt like to me, this is a very specific cut, but is the PBS Neil Patrick Harris
Yes.
company that they
Yeah.
did, where Stephen Colbert's in it. It's a great
So
production. but it was kind of this
Christina
similar sort of a
Hendricks.
layout. Yes, yeah, this like similar layout.
Yes. Because in the script, there's some really dated, like, I'll call you in the morning or my service will explain,
Yes.
like various things. So, but the revival, Sondheim updated the lyrics for that West End production and made it so that it could be today.
I was going to say part of it, when what I was understanding as part of the reason why you were so fervently sticking to the 60s of it all was that because it is, some of the dialogue is so dated, it's like a nod to the parents that, you know, we know that this is not, that we know that this is not how kids or even adults talk now, but like we are in the 60s. So
Yeah,
it was
like
very this is where we are.
I think accidentally became, as things are, like people write things thinking that it's relevant.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it becomes a period piece just due to the fact that there's just some language that's just so dated. So yeah, and but they really did lean into now that I'm thinking about it, like there are plenty of productions that's a little bit more amorphous in terms of like the time anywhere, and then there's just some language.
Yeah.
But this really, we're like, we're in the 60s. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start. I'm separated number by number. We're starting with the opening. Let's get into it. We start. The first thing we see is you filling up a drink and pretending to be 35. The first thing we hear is this is a dirty phone call, which hearing it from a 17-year-old is so fucking funny.
We're gonna track those. I have them written down. Some of my favorite, like, I wrote it down as I would write the line and then I'd write contest in terms of the contest for the best line delivered by a child for an adult thing.
Yes.
Dirty phone call was the first one that I wrote.
And that was also where I clocked, like, the parents were like, ooh, like, there wasn't they weren't laughing at that. They were like, ooh, like, there was very much a ooh kind of moment there.
Well, this is one thing I'm going to say throughout, and you start to see it. I just wrote, I haven't seen it yet. There is some unparalleled diction in this production.
Yes, a lot of enunciating.
Tyler, a lot of it is, you are a diction king in this.
Yes.
Among others. Was that in the direction? How did you guys come to have such clear speaking voices?
Oh my God, I just had a complete flashback. I'll tell you why all of our diction was so good. Every single night, there would be a diction contest. So Jennifer would come and gift and award someone best diction for that performance.
Oh my
so
God.
Oh my God.
So it was actually
That
because
makes sense.
there was a competition going on without you realizing. That's why all of us were freaking out. That's why all of us are speaking like that.
Wow.
And is it an actual prize or is it a classic like honorary theater? You get the approval of your mentors.
I think approval of your mentors. A diction contest.
That is so funny.
Oh, yeah.
Because the diction is so, I invite you, it is just, God, the diction is just so strong.
Yeah, we'll have to find a moment where it really stands out.
Oh,
because
please do.
It's like, yes, I think we're going to, as we're playing things, my first other note besides, the diction, the just having to get used to children playing 35-year-olds and coming upon sort of existential dread is, I think, Joanne, because there's always a person who is playing a high schooler who gets cast as mother, and Joanne is sort of the mother role, and in capital M, and so was she a person who had? I don't know, did you know these people from previous productions? Like, were you sort of going through your high school experience with them, like the other kids in the show, or was it?
Well, there was definitely people in the show that I'd done shows with before.
Okay.
And then there's people, because I didn't do every YMTC show. So they did like 3 or 4 a year. So I didn't do all of them, but I would then see a lot of these people in shows because I would go to every single one. So India Drowetsky, who plays Joanne in this production, I had seen in Sweeney Todd prior. And
who did she play?
She, I think, was just in the ensemble, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But so I know. Oh, and then I saw her in her high school production at Berkeley High, production of Spring Awakening, where she was Venla, and I was obsessed with her.
She was Venla. Wow,
She
that
was
is.
Venla.
I just
She's
imagined
she's
she was
versatile
adult.
as hell.
Like I
No.
would have. I
No.
would have thought she was going to be.
It was a really good production, but that's a tangent.
Wow.
But so she,
Yeah.
so so a lot of these people I had known or known of going in. And she, I think, was, because it goes up to you could be in college and still do YMTC shows. So some
Really?
people,
Wow.
so some people actually come back if they're doing like a show that they love, they'll come back from college and do it over the summer.
Interesting.
Yeah, so she, I think, was taking a gap year. So this was during her gap year. She did this.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
She's mother.
She is mother. Can we go to, I'm going to go to her moment where she really stands out. And then I can also ask you, where did this wig come from that she's wearing? We're going to wig corner. That it's not her fault, but why? This is, here we see her walking across the stage. Why that wig? Also, was anyone else wearing a wig?
Let me check.
Oh, you know who was? No, I know. Marta was definitely wearing a wig.
Is that the one who sings? Is that another 100 people?
Yeah.
She was definitely wearing a wig, yes.
Yes. So Joanne's wig is, I mean, I guess it's exuding sort of mature woman. Was that, like, what was her natural hair like?
Natural hair, long hair.
Okay.
Long, gorgeous hair.
Sort of childish, yeah.
So, yeah. So, but I don't even remember a conversation about it, but I think it was like from the get. It was like, we're going to put you in short hair. Cause it's like,
you're going to have
older, it'll look so different from you. Like that kind of thing, as opposed to like a gray moment. I don't know. I never even questioned it, but yeah, the wig is wigging for sure.
The wig is wigging.
And Joanne's husband, who I got a lot to say about, but Joanne's husband is also such a classic. This is a child who we're gonna try to make old.
Oh yeah,
The
he was often
hair,
cast as older people.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I could. Yeah, I believe that.
Was that a natural mustache, or was that something he was wearing?
Not a natural. I believe it was put on for the production.
Okay. But I have to imagine that he could have grown a mustache like that.
Oh, that's a great question. I don't remember. I think perhaps no. I think perhaps he didn't have the ability. Yeah.
Okay.
But it looks like it looks from here, from this angle,
great.
looks great.
There's some great mustaches in this generally. Are you telling me that none of them were homegrown, that they're all fake mustaches?
So, Ethan, who plays Harry in the show, that is his real goatee. So
that's amazing.
He was able to grow that one out. He's such a talent. But
he's very talented.
He played every role you could imagine at YMTC.
I'm sure
he was such a freaking all-star. But no, and then I'm looking here. No, I think that was the only real facial hair that we had in the show. Oh wait, yeah, it was.
Peter's mustache was very good too.
Great, Peter's killing it.
Great mustache. I think also something that comes up in this opening number that continues as a theme throughout the show and is, a Bobby quintessential moment is that you have to be reacting. Acting is reacting, but you have to be reacting to every single thing that happens on the stage. And there's a lot of smirking. There's a lot of like, you're sort of all knowing. Like how did you work with the director to achieve that sort of aloof but observant 35-year-old man attitude?
Oh god, this is really bringing me back because I also played Bobby my freshman year of high school. So
I had questions about that because I did read that on your website.
Yeah,
and I'm very curious about that.
I played it twice. I've been very different periods of my life, but really similar in terms of time. But I'm not going to get into that right now. But essentially, we worked on, doing book scenes from every show, and then you suddenly realize that so much of the show he's just there.
Yeah.
And he gets to sing some of the best songs, but ultimately in terms of dialogue, he does not say a lot.
No.
So, yeah.
It was, I don't know. It was, I remember being like, oh my God, I have to just be super active and not think and not let my mind wander elsewhere because as a self-conscious high schooler, like if I just sang, someone is waiting and I didn't think it went really well. I mean, it's so hard not to be like just thinking about that when you're just listening. That's a great question. I think we just worked on what's my opinion of all these couples. What am what's your point of view? All that good stuff. Because his objective in the, like, if you're talking high school theater, you're talking about your objectives. They're really strange and not very strong in the scenes. Like, because it's not about him. It's about the couples. So you just have to sit there and
it's
be
a lot of
active listening.
Just reaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
we still have yet to discuss a thing that happens in the show yet.
Well, that's sort of isn't that company?
Isn't that kind of just company? Yeah, you're talking around an idea.
Yeah.
I got a question. Jake, can you pull up 6 minutes and 45 seconds?
Absolutely.
We are presented with just the world's smallest cake.
Yes! Oh my god, I had a note about that too.
Which looks...
And then we get like a small shot of just the cake too. Yeah,
Which looks amazing. It looks so good.
Blow out your candles and make a wish. Don't tell your wish, Bobby, or it won't come true.
Blow out your candles and make a
diction
wish.
contest. Fiona's gonna win that diction contest. I love it.
Okay, this cake is so small. I think we then get a shot. Is it now or later? I think it is later in the show of just the cake by itself. The cake is the character.
Oh my god, the cake is the character.
What was that? A fake cake? Was that styrofoam?
I want to say it had to have been a fake cake because we don't eat it.
Yeah.
It was a fake cake.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Really good prop.
But it's very small. It is a very small cake, and I never questioned that. But it is very small.
It is. Yeah.
And there's so many people.
Oh, there's no way
that won't
everyone's
serve
eating
everyone.
that
Like no
cake.
one's gonna eat the cake.
And if you add the ensemble members, no one is getting a
no
piece
one's
of that
getting the
cake,
slice. No
which
one's getting the slice.
We're at. Oh, also, sorry. Before we get to the ensemble standing in the dark, there's a moment at like about 10 minutes, 30 seconds when you finally sort of turn around to look at everyone,
Yes.
and I'm just imagining that must have been like the biggest blocking moment for you. It felt very like meaningful.
Oh,
let me just play that.
Oh my god.
Like I was like, wow, I'm like clocking. This is like a big blocking choice. Okay, you're standing there, you're facing, and then, you turn around and you watch them and you.
I got chills.
and the audience was sobbing. The audience was like,
The audience is on their feet.
Yeah.
No, that I do remember because it's in theater, especially when you're in high school and you're just learning the rules, like the theater rules. It's like never have your back to the audience. So I think this was probably like it was a big moment because I gave permission to finally just turn around
and look at
everyone because it's all has to be played out so much. So it's punctuated with the music, like Bobby, and then I'm like,
yes,
turn around.
I mean, I have obviously no notes about Sondheim's very good work. I do have in this still some notes about the lighting, throughout the show. I mean, it's not questioned so much as an indictment, which is that like the stage was never lit. Well, at all.
Dark show.
It was a dark show, and again, we are seeing in this moment, or not seeing, 4 ensemble members in total darkness. So can you talk about how did those children's parents feel? Were they? I also saw again there were swings and understudies, which
there were.
Very wild. Were these the swings? Were these the understudies?
Yes. So this is actually interesting.
I would love to hear.
So glad you're asking about this.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a production of Company, you have an option, which I believe is either in the libretto or you can get it. It's called the vocal minority. So there are background vocalists that are written into the score of the show. And often they're not put on stage. Often they're pit singers and they just like up, the vocal quality of the show. But obviously because it's youth theater and if they want more people in it as possible.
Right, yeah.
As many people as possible. So they positioned it exactly what you said. It was like, so you're going to be in the show, you're going to be singing the score, you're going to be in rehearsal, and you're going to be understudying roles. So you see them in the back and they're all throughout.
No, you don't. You don't. You see them in the back.
You see their silhouettes in the back.
Yeah.
They are in the back. But
there are human beings in the back. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what's fascinating about this is that thank God we had him.
We will get to that.
Because Sarah.
Who was she? Sarah.
So she, who's in the first scene, and I realized I think I got Ethan does not play Harry in the show. Someone else plays Harry. So anyone listening. So anyway,
sorry,
someone else. So the first scene is Sarah and Harry, and she, the woman playing it here, she was in the vocal minority, and during Tech Week, our Sarah, my friend Lena, she on this stage stepped down and broke her foot.
Oh my god!
So
and that's the lighting.
That's the lighting.
I swear to God, if the
I'm
lighting
sure.
was better, she would not have broken her foot. Not
she
to
fully
dredge
broke
up
it.
this. Yeah.
And she was such a
Oh
rock
my
star. We thought she maybe just
God.
twisted her ankle. No, fully
Oh
fractured
my
her foot.
God.
We were like,
this
"Can
stage
she
is
be on
a
the show?"
hazard.
Yeah, it was. I think, and I remember it being a big point of contention because in theory it's such a cool and dynamic set, and in practice, it became really cumbersome. Yeah,
it's not just cumbersome, but clearly
and dangerous.
Volatile
Yeah,
and dangerous.
It looks really cool, but it was like, oh my gosh, having to navigate that was tough. So anyway,
it looks cool, but I have to sort of squint to see it.
Yeah.
Like,
so thank God we had him because someone had been understudying the role and went on like mere days to spare.
I had always thought about that in my high school because we never did understudies, and I was always like,
never
what
did.
would have happened? But I mean, nothing ever happened. Which I mean, I would say knock on wood, but this is.
I was also
There's
thinking
no
like, oh my,
reason
don't
to do that,
knock on wood. I'm like, you're out of high school.
There was some famous story at my high school about they did On the Town.
You also did On the Town.
I know.
Your senior
I also
year.
did. God, my
Nice.
director loved one thing. It was On the Town.
Oh God, that's such a toxic thing for a director to love.
And whatever, it was the show that was like 10 years before my On the Town.
Okay.
Some kid got like caught drinking like a week before the show. So the school was like, well, we have to take disciplinary
This sounds
action.
like this is not real, and it's something your director said to get you to not drink before the show. But
It is a
continue.
great. But what happened was that there was no kid who was ready to fill in. So the acting teacher, who was like a 60-year-old man,
No.
stepped in to play one of the. It might have been Gaby, but one of the main sailors.
I bet.
We can't.
Oh my God. She's
That's
secretly
actually,
loving
if
it.
there's a video of that, like that sounds so iconic.
That is remarkable.
Yeah, that is absolutely remarkable. So we're 45 minutes into chatting, and we have not even gotten to the little things you do together. So we do need
Move along.
We do need to keep going. I will also say again, this is something I've noticed throughout every high school production that Jacob and I have seen, which is now 4. So big sample size. But
huge.
The mixing of the Sopranos in every moment is horrible. All you can hear in any final note is Sopranos. I'll just quickly play that because it's like, guys, what are we doing here? Oh, yep, here we go. It's just in the final notes of Company, all you're hearing are the Sopranos. And they're hitting the notes, but it's so loud. Oh my God.
Yeah, so we had some soprantos in that cast.
Yeah,
So they didn't even need mics.
Yeah, God.
It is, and that is also, that's a problem with the song too. Like I feel like even in the Broadway recording, like I'll be just hit by the Sopranos.
Yeah, they're up
You're
there.
scared. Yeah. Okay, let's get into the little things you do together.
Right.
Or the Harry and Sarah scene before the song, because obviously this is the first time we're seeing a real scene between a married couple who are 16, 17 years old and have never, I'm assuming, even really had a serious relationship in their lives. How did the director go about directing you, teaching you about adult relationships? Was there sort of like maybe a sit down moment, a chat? What was the concept of you're 35, your marriages are all falling apart, or in some way progressing? What was the conversation there?
I think, they were so, you can see by like what I said of their show history, they were so confident in kids and in their understanding, sure, like in how observant kids can be. So I remember, at least, I don't know, I think this was it. It's like, they were like, think about your parents. Like, you have witnessed them your entire life. So like, if they're divorced, if they're still together, the fights they get in, blah, blah, blah. It's not as that if kids have no frame of reference.
Sure.
It's just that it's like you just have to be a little bit more observant, because the minutia of relationships, like, they exist all around you as a kid. So I think that was these are still people, and just because their problems are different than ours doesn't mean that they feel differently. Like, all humans, take things personally, get stressed out, get annoyed with people, that kind of thing. So I think that was our end, as opposed to it being like, here's this amorphous like thing that you don't know anything about and trying to, hit it. It was more like, let's bring it down to you and just try to understand it with the tools you have. So I think it made it a little bit less scary. I remember being so scared when we started rehearsals because it did feel like we were like going no training wheels into a world. But they're like, just remember you're people, and you know if you're doing Sweeney Todd in high school, like you've never murdered someone, like so you know how can you understand that? You know, so that I think that was our in. That was our in.
Now, here's this is a semi-unrelated. Jake, if you could go to 1443, I wrote, is this a New York accent or a 70s accent?
Oh my God.
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, let's hear it.
There's a lot of accent work in this.
Yeah.
There is?
In this production.
I need to
I think the accent.
Oh my God, there are. I completely forgot.
Well, the southern accent.
There's
of course.
southern.
There's
we're gonna get
southern.
some Irish from the stewardess.
Oh,
like
really?
Are we?
A little
what
bit.
Are you
I heard a little
about?
bit. I heard a look. We'll get into it.
Oh my God,
Okay,
this is thrilling.
let's hear this.
Okay.
Just on the corner.
Just on the corner. Okay, I did. Was that the moment? Or was
It's just
it more?
that this whole line. I'm like, I can't tell. Are you doing a New York accent, which no one else is doing, or are you doing like it's the 1970s and everyone talks like this?
I want to say it's probably the latter. Probably like we're in a show and we're
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
thing. And also
I'm
like weirdly
talking like a
ages
man.
you. I think it's like how do I age myself into this? Such a good, I love him.
This is I mean, well, first of all, like the costumes are amazing. I literally want to wear like every outfit that people are
there's
wearing
some
in this
really
show,
cute outfits.
except yours, unfortunately, which is just a button-down shirt and khakis. But
well, if you look like at the suit up close, it's like has cool stripes on it, and I
it's
like
amazing.
love this suit.
I like really would love to own this
it was
suit.
cool.
That's
So,
great.
but yeah, I didn't get to really change, unfortunately.
No, and my other question now that you have mentioned, you know, all people are people. It's not actually different. Speaking of all people are people, it actually isn't, but was anyone actually in a relationship in the show? Were there any showmances?
There was. Oh, you mean with each other?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think anyone in the production was seeing someone, but I do know that I think Jacob here, who played Harry, was in a relationship for a while with someone like from his school or from childhood or something. There was definitely people that were in relationships, but definitely not with each other in the cast.
That's such a bummer. There was
That's
not even a notion of a showmance, between any of the married couples. Some probably the showmance was not possible, but some potentially
was impossible. Yeah, there wasn't.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, then there we go.
There we go.
That answers my question.
Case closed.
Yeah.
I had this is I think we're into the little things you do together.
Yeah.
We have the presentation of I wrote Joanne's cuck husband, and he really does.
He
look
really
like that.
is such a cuck husband. The costuming is
That is
absolutely
hilarious.
If you go to 2115, this guy does not know what to do on stage while Joanne is singing.
But it almost like makes sense for the character. Oh,
totally.
And I came to the exact moment I wanted to also, where Joanne went to, her hands are always moving. Her wrists are so limp. She went to like the Julio Torres School of Hand Acting because her hands are never not moving. Let's watch this. Yeah, he's just there and in total darkness. Look at her, both of her hands are going. Like, her hands are like, you could be looking at her hands, either hand, and be seeing a different story. Like, this is a masterful job of hand acting. Truly.
I'm loving this analysis. I'm like, because you're in it. Like, I've never been able to view a show that I'm in like the way you're doing. I'm like, oh my God, yes. I think that was definitely a thing, because she definitely doesn't do that in real life. It was definitely like
I'm
she
sure,
decided like in the character, like to have the hands sort of move here.
Oh my
God, that's so cool.
And God, this man just looks like such a cunt. It's
there.
like this image is incredible.
He really,
so
I think
sad.
it was very intentional. Like, I think he was really.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, because Larry, unfortunately, on the page is perhaps the least interesting character in this show.
Yeah.
And it's always been that case. And I love what he did, because you kind of like feel bad for him the whole show, which is sort of great, because you're like, what is he thinking? He just never gets to really speak for himself. And then there's that scene before Ladies Who Lunch. So it's totally with the grayed temples.
Yes, I mean, the graying. There's always one who is gray
We love
when
it.
no one else is. Yeah. Yeah, and right before, at the very end of the song, I don't really have much else to say about the song itself, but the way that Sarah says "I love you" to Harry at the end of the song did make me want to die because it was so earnest. Like nothing else in the show I felt was that earnest, but I was like, that's why I asked about the showmance, honestly, because I was like, it felt like there was like something there. I was like, it was like,
Wait, remind me which couple?
Sarah and Harry.
Sarah and
not
Harry.
that I felt that they had a lot of chemistry, but the way that she said it. Let me get to.
I agree that "Love You" was tender, but I also had the note: why are these two people no less than 3 feet apart at all?
Yeah, they're never near
They're
each other.
so far away from
Yeah,
each
it was
other.
blocked pretty far.
Yeah.
I just feel she had almost no rehearsal time, and I
But
rewatched
she
this,
did a great job.
and
for
it was
having
like,
almost no rehearsal time.
looking back, I'm like, I remember like this scene was so scary because it's like it really is the first out of the gate. It establishes the tone for the entire show and all of the dialogue.
It's
And
long, and it's a
I
long.
can't-
Very
that's- I'm-
long.
Now knowing that she was an understudy, I'm even more impressed by this performance. But let me just play.
Oh,
just,
yeah,
I think this
please.
was a real choice that she made with the "I love you."
Yes.
I love you.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. Oh, I love you.
Oh, and then she.
Do not touch.
Oh, and then she almost broke her leg on the stage too. I
my
just saw her walk down, and I'm seeing where that other girl broke
Yeah,
her leg.
oh,
Was
God.
this like the closing night performance, or were there more performances after this?
This was, I believe, oh crap. I know it was a Saturday night. I remember it vividly.
There's one more at least, because the girl at the end, she gives the speech at the end.
That's
the
her,
girl,
Oh,
the one in crutches.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Yes.
And if I'm just imagining what would have happened if she fell off the stage and broke her leg in this moment, and then there just can't. It just can't.
That character
there can't
just
be a
is no longer.
show.
Sarah's like, we're done.
Yeah. Okay, now we're on "Sorry Grateful."
Which is an underrated song in
Oh,
this
isn't
show.
it beautiful?
in
It's
my
it's a
opinion.
gorgeous song. It does. I was sort of taken out of it again by a 17-year-old singing it, but
Like this,
it's
this
not
wise,
his fault.
like
Yeah.
wisdom, like about like
Yeah.
relationships.
About like the paradox of marriage and relationship.
I
Like that,
have so
again,
much. Yeah.
And God, are so many of those lines lost in the singing. Like people, they're like the line, the "oh wait, I think I meant," the "good things get better, bad get worse." Oh wait, I think I meant
Yeah.
in reverse. Like totally brushed past the idea that it was a joke or anything. Like it's just
The part that I have so much to say about Harry in this song because
Yes.
first of all, sideburns real or no?
I think they weren't
Let's.
real.
They weren't.
I don't think they were real. Oh
I-
my God, were they? No.
if they
Wait,
were
they? They might.
was
no,
it?
I think. They
But this
weren't real.
goatee was real.
This goatee is real. This is Ethan.
That's yes. That
Star.
okay. The
you-
sideburns. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I say if you want to play it from like 1625, we can both see the sideburns and there's
1625. No.
Oh, sorry. I meant 20. I meant 20.
For
Sorry.
the last 9 minutes
I
of
meant,
the show.
I meant,
No commentary.
I
we
meant
just want to
20,
see it.
26, 25. We can see the
yeah.
goatee, but also there's an amazing diction on the word starting.
I'm
Oh
going
my
to
God,
also
I'm
call out
excited.
before I get there. So if you see the way his hand is being held, he continues that throughout the whole song. He's as if he's holding a glass, but
Is he
his
not
hand is sort
holding
of
a glass?
No,
my God,
he's
oops.
not holding anything.
Oh, got
Maybe
it.
he was supposed to be.
I don't think so.
But it sort of continues out throughout the whole. Okay, so
Okay.
Okay.
You don't live for
a lot of diction,
her.
amazing voice.
You do live with her.
Oh, the starting's coming.
Scared she's starting.
Starting. Yes.
Away.
I mean, like he has such an. Was he one of the people who was up for Bobby?
Yes.
Yeah.
He
I mean,
is
and it
so.
shows.
He was like a lead in truly every. He was Tevye.
Yeah.
He was Emile de Beck. He was
Oh,
Lockstock.
I could totally see him as Tevye. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I would
he's
love to see that
incredible.
production.
Right. That kind of feels it though. Like this guy feels like
He's
more
not
of
Bobby.
a
Yeah.
Tevye, not a Bobby.
Yeah.
There's either the two sides of masculinity, or you're either a Bobby or you're a Tevye.
Wow, that is. I think we really cracked the code here.
Yeah.
I think that is precisely right.
And then he. What's this character's name again? Why am I
David.
blanking on
David.
it? Okay, he completely disappears. Like he's still singing, but he disappears into the lighting.
Really?
Yes. Let's just. Here he goes. Oh, and Larry's singing here. So the three of them are sort of lit on stage at this point, and then in a moment, he's gonna sort of go away. I might have gone too early, so now we're just sort of watching the three of them perform. Yes.
I love this song.
Okay. Here it comes. Okay, I really went too far back. Oh God. Okay, it's like 10 more seconds.
All to do with her.
Okay, here it comes. Here it comes. Sorry, here it comes. And there he goes.
Oh yes, because they stop. So in the script, they one by one stop singing until it's just Harry again.
Oh,
yeah, so that's why.
See, it reads as like he
dies.
He's gone. Yeah.
He's assassinated during the song.
These are his last words.
Yeah, I think so. Let's just get to you could drive a person crazy.
Yeah, I mean, so we got
and the Peter and Susan scene, I guess.
I did actually have one question.
Ask
it was
away.
if we could go to 31:15 just as a tableau. We don't need to play it.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, before You Could Drive a Person Crazy, they're smoking weed outside. It's a big conversation about
what a
weed.
beautiful tableau here.
Oh my God, a smoking weed.
Okay,
I have a funny story here. I hope you.
So I wrote down game. Who here has smoked weed before?
Yes. Wait, don't tell us. Do not tell us yet. Do not tell us yet. Can I? Well, this is the Bay Area, so I mean, I'm automatically gonna assume that the answer is everyone. But if this was not, like, wait, what's the actor's name who plays Peter?
Ethan,
Peter. I think he's Peter, right? Because it's Peter and Susan.
No, Peter is
Peter is
the
divorce guy. Yeah, sorry, not.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is David.
Jenny and David.
Jenny and David. Yes, I needed that reminder. Thank you.
So David, now knowing that he's a star, if I were to guess someone hadn't smoked weed, it would be him. I think you, and I don't want, we're just meeting, so I don't want, you seem like a joiner, and I think if you were offered weed, you would accept it. So I think you had smoked weed.
So it's really interesting because, I thought, my first impression was yellow shirt guy, David, has smoked weed.
Well, but I think it's reverse psychology. I think he's like he's very serious about his craft. So the
only thing that I stay with my original prediction was the girl has not smoked weed.
But what were did you not think I had smoked weed, Jacob?
I kind of thought you well, okay, so here's also just my background on Tyler is weed.
I thought you were going to say my background on weed.
My background on marijuana.
I met Tyler at Cherubs when we were 17, and like,
can you, for the people at home and also me, explain what Cherubs is?
Of course, which actually I believe your cousin Jesse also went to Cherubs a couple of years before. I believe National High School Institute Theater Institute Cherubs summer program is a 5-week summer intensive.
Is this an advert? Are they paying us?
They should.
Please, they should.
Cherubs, if you are listening,
sponsored by
us.
Cherubs.
Yeah.
Truly. God, all of this is like sponsored. But yeah, so it's a 5-week, it's at Northwestern. It's kind of like a pre-college theater program where you are just doing some real intense, like, acting theater. Like you're living it from sun up to sundown. With like probably about 150 other people.
It was, I think 159 students.
Yeah.
So, and you had to audition, I'm assuming.
You didn't audition, you applied. You had to write essays, and then your part of it is that you had to send in your transcript. So you had to be a decent student.
And it's like a lot of smart kids and all of that. But I mentioned 159 people. Of these, they choose like one person on the last day of Cherubs at this big banquet. They like choose one person to give like a speech to everyone. And that's the person who they're like, this person is like the king or queen of Cherubs. Like this person has done something like above everyone else. My year, that person was Tyler.
Okay, can we get a little recreation of the speech?
Well, what was fun is that they pulled me aside. I thought I was in trouble. They pulled me aside and they're like, so we want you to do this final speech at the banquet. And I'm like, oh my God. And they're like, but the thing is, you can't tell anyone, not even your family. And I'm like,
I don't know why I was imagining you were like not allowed to contact your family. It's like a Mormon mission. Like you were
you couldn't be on your phone at all. Like you could not during the day be on
course.
your phone. So like sort of no, but yeah, I couldn't tell and I didn't tell my parents because I was like, no one can find out. So it became a game of me having to write a speech as the program.
How long before did
it was
you find
probably
out?
like maybe it was like a week and a half before it ended.
Okay. So
and
you had time to craft.
So I had time to craft a speech. Yeah. So you can cut this out if you want, but the speech
absolutely not.
For you, Jake, who did not witness the speech, and for you, Jacob, who did and perhaps forgot the speech. So there was 10 productions that happened in.
Oh my God!
So you do 10 productions. So you're in one production, and there's 10 of them, right? I think, or 8.
Yeah, 10
so,
shows.
So you were cast into play like after the first day of the program, and you did that play. So I at that point had seen all of the plays and had designed and also the leader of the camp, who no longer leads it, she kept saying "bam" the entire 5 weeks, like bam, like she would like mic drop, but it was hers was like bam, so she'd say bam after anything. So bam sort of became very quickly the motto of the 5 weeks. So I remember doing a speech that included lines from all of the shows. Like I began with a line from K of D, which is one of the plays, and like I kind of wove in all the shows to make everyone sort of be like, oh, that was my show. And then I split the speech into 3 parts. So I said, be bold, stay absorbent, and live in the moment. Were like my 3 keystone things of the speech. Like that's what you should take away from Cherubs. So then I'm like, bold, absorbent, moment, bam. And then everyone's like,
oh my God.
So I forgot about the 10 shows thing until you just mentioned it.
I can send you the speech.
That.
I do still have it.
Well, no, I want you to recite. I want you to recite it.
I do remember when he did that BAM thing, like it was, and we were at like a Hilton Garden.
Yeah, it was like a hotel or something.
They like rented at like a hotel, ballroom.
Why?
Like, just because they were like, because you guys are getting the best, like whatever it was. Like,
was this a program that cost an insane amount of money? Or
it definitely did. Like absolutely costs money. Big money. 5 weeks and you're living on campus. Like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But Tyler did that BAM thing, and it was like minds were blown. Like the room, we lost all decorum.
And sorry, Jacob, can I just ask how that relates to whether your assessment of how if Tyler
it all comes back to have I smoked weed before?
Well, because I was like, this guy's like the golden boy. He's gonna do it right. He's gonna play, and especially like like this is a person who is very respected by the elders. I had thought smoked weed.
When the way you were saying this is like, this is a cult. Like people,
I don't think we
have any listeners who are not theater kids or were not theater kids, but I think if they're not hearing about this, they'll be like, oh, this is culty. This is
there's a podcast called Sounds Like a Cult that might I'm the guest on the Theater Kids episode. So if you want a little bit more context,
there we go. Okay, yes, plug.
So I'm changing my answer and I'm saying Tyler has smoked weed, but this is why before I thought
that makes perfect sense, because the golden boy, like I wouldn't dare, like because I would want to jeopardize my reputation.
Was anyone smoking weed at Cherubs, or that would never have happened?
No, so drinking and smoking, like it was like a no tolerance policy. They would but I do know one person who was drinking during it.
I love this. We have to get back to company.
We're going to.
Okay. So quick rundown, the 3 people on stage who smoked weed before.
So I definitely had my first time smoking weed. I was in 8th grade. I'm in the Bay Area, so like I actually smoked a lot of weed.
Wow.
So I'm glad but I tried to hide it to shut down. And then I think, if I remember correctly, neither of them had ever smoked before. So I was like, hey, let's all smoke together because
that was going to be my next question.
So we went to a playground in Berkeley, and I brought weed, and we all smoked.
Oh, did you had your own weed?
Who brought it? I think it was me that brought it. I think I had a wave it, or maybe it was Ethan that had it. Maybe Ethan had smoked before, or maybe hadn't ever gotten high or something. But anyway, we did all smoke together in a park late at night to like prepare for this scene.
I mean, that's beautiful, and that's like
stunning?
what I would have wanted you to have done. Jenny, also the actress, this is the loudest, the most reactive I've heard the audience. Jenny was a real audience crowd pleaser. Like she was she was great. She was a audience favorite. I think part of it obviously is like the humor of the weed smoking scene, but the other part is that the audience was just
eating her
lapping
up. They loved
yes.
this scene. They really did.
Yes.
They really
and it was
did.
one of the only things I think that they really loved.
Yeah, that they
in
like
the
were
show.
audibly responding to. Yeah, a lot of it is
There's
like
a-
quiet. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lines in this that are just like marriage sucks kind of line. Like
Wait, I think you're gonna pull out the same line I have, but go ahead.
I have everything except
That's it. Yep. And did you hear how loud the dads specifically were laughing at that in the audience?
Oh, I have everything except freedom.
Oh, I get the dads are like, yeah, like it's like the lowest. Yeah. Okay.
that's funny.
Oh, yeah.
I also, so the only real thing I have to say about You Could Drive a Person Crazy is that when they say if he happens to be gay, it sort of looks like when they were all pointing accusingly at you.
Yeah.
Was that a thing that did happen, or was that just a choice that they made?
I definitely don't think Jennifer. I was obviously out at this point, and
that was also going to be my question.
Yes, I came
you
out.
were out. Okay.
I came out doing it when I was 15 in the beginning of my sophomore year of high school is when I came out.
That's so beautiful.
A Bay Area
Yeah.
girl. So I I know Jennifer would never like. But it could be like from this angle.
Yeah, let's just watch it.
Let's watch. I'm dying
Yeah.
because I tried rewatching this like before we did this podcast, and I had to stop. I was like, "This is the cringiest thing."
Okay, let's see. Oh, here they're all. Oh my god! Also, the girl with the blonde hair, the flight attendant, she looks like Jeanette McCurdy.
I literally wrote that.
Exactly like Jeanette McCurdy.
Blonde girl looks like Jeanette McCurdy.
That is
Sorry, Jacob. Did you type out and print out your notes this time?
So yeah, I was away this weekend and didn't have my usual legal pad, so I had to type out,
Yeah, and then you
notes
had
and
to print it out so that you had
So we
it
can
there
get
and
the-
could. You could. Yeah, exactly.
Papers.
Right. Okay. So let's watch this. Okay. Oh. Okay, here it comes. It's gonna be so accusing. Here it comes. They're all like, happen to be gay.
Yeah,
It's very much like
happen to be gay, and then it's like, yes, this poor little gay boy is gay. Yes, for sure.
I also was wondering why did they choose not to harmonize for most of this?
Oh my
the
God, they were
beginning
definitely
harmonies
supposed
sort
to.
of got a little lost.
Did they? Oh my God, that definitely was not on purpose.
This is such a difficult song.
I
this
can't
is
fault them
such a
for that.
difficult
Yeah.
song.
Oh my God, yeah. I remember learning this. Like, I remember it being.
But
very
by the end
stressful.
of the song, they had really warmed up to it. Like,
Oh,
the
that's
harmonies
good.
were
That's
really
good. As long
there.
as you end
Yeah.
strong, like that's the key.
Jacob, what were you saying?
I was just looking. I was looking after because the crazy thing about this song. Do we have more notes on "You Could Drive a Person Crazy"?
No, I was just wondering if these girls were popular at their respective schools because they all seemed sort of the least theater kiddie of the theater kids.
Oh my God,
but
I that's amazing.
You might not know now that I know this is like a community
Lee,
theater thing.
who plays April, the flight attendant, she was like one of my dearest, closest friends in high school. Still adore her. I just haven't seen her in forever. She actually is in Brooklyn, so this reminds me I need to reach out.
You should reach out.
But we have
Haley.
many a memory together. She went to Berkeley High, and she was like awesome. She's like such a cool girl, and then also happened to love doing musical theater and have this insane soprano.
Yeah.
So I know she was popular.
Okay, there we go.
For sure.
All right, Jacob, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was saying, okay, so You Could Drive a Person Crazy ends. We go back to the weed smoking scene.
Correct.
It's just like a
I know.
20-minute
It
long
comes
scene.
back. Yeah.
Very long.
I had another line for the contest of the best, teenage
Is it we're
line.
just too old?
Yep, it's at 42:28. Bobby, we're just too old.
We're just too old.
Yeah. I also this is the other than the birthday cake, the other non-human star of the show is the constant knocking sound that is in the back of this of the filming. I doubt it was audible in the theater, though if it was, please let me know.
I don't
It sounded like
remember.
something maybe I'm gonna just play. It was at some points overwhelming,
Wait, oh my
and
God.
at others just
wonder what
just
it-
there. I think it sounded maybe like it was the tripod shaking.
Oh,
but
let's see.
It could be that. It could be something else. Here.
Oh my God, I love this.
Do you hear it?
No.
Do you hear the knocking?
Yeah.
That's
It
in
must be
that's-
the tripod.
Yeah, so because you weren't hearing that on
No,
stage.
that was definitely no. Otherwise, I
Okay.
would have remembered because that would have pissed me
Yeah,
off
yeah,
and been
yeah.
like, it's taking away
yeah,
from
yeah.
the performance. Yeah, for
You
sure.
would have pulled like a Patty LuPone.
I would have been
it and
like
been
pissed.
whoever's knocking.
Yeah, be like, whoever's
yeah,
knocking,
yeah.
please stop.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna say so we're at Have I Got a Girl for You. Any thoughts?
I was thinking that Larry was really giving like Officer Krupke here. There was just sort of like a real sort of security vibe. Or
That's funny. Like police.
We can, yeah, like very policey. Let me go to that. Just, policey.
I wrote 4531 cuck guy coming back.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Here he comes. He's like the authority figure here.
Yes.
With a weakness for Sazerac slings, you give her even the fruit and she swings.
I really love the finger again. He took it from Joanne. He went instead of hand.
They love
he
a hand.
isolated the finger. Yeah.
They love a hand.
I really don't have anything else about Have I Got a Girl for You.
No, it's not my favorite, but
no.
So then we kind of move straight to Someone Is Waiting.
Yeah.
Which is the first solo
That
Bobby.
We get this is your big moment.
Also, we didn't even mention, which is sweet of you guys, in the opening number, I do crack.
I didn't want to bring that up.
No, my God, bring it up. I remember like that, and I knew we were filming, and it like ruined my night. Like this entire night, I was so in intermission. Jennifer like came back. She's like, "How's it going?" And I'm like almost crying, being like, "It's a nightmare. It's like the worst." She's like, "Tyler, who cares?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I just know it's being filmed." So and there was a watch party, and I remember like having to sit there and everyone knowing that it was such a nightmare.
Did you see your life flash before your eyes before the voice crack? Because sorry, now my girlfriend is laughing in the back.
I did hear the laugh. I'm like, yes, laugh. So did you see your life flash before your eyes before the crack?
Yeah.
It was more during and after. It was more like because that's what it's really about. And it's like afterward, it's not Bobby singing for a second.
Do you mind if we play that?
Oh my God, play it. It's history.
It's water under the bridge.
I don't want to be a revisionist.
Yeah.
Like we have to play it.
So we're going back in time, and now I'm glad now we know each other, and we can laugh about it. And I didn't want to bring it up when we were 9 minutes and 30 seconds in. But
that's sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah. Let's hear it. And Jacob didn't bring it up either. You
both were being. I was like ready. I was like, okay, we're just not going to talk about it.
We got a lot of show to get to.
That's true. It's true.
The voice crack
this is good. This is
thing.
the material that we want. Like this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see sort of your life flash before your eyes.
Yeah. Here we go. And you can see it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You're so scared. Oh God! Yeah.
Oh my God.
Was that a note you had been worried about?
What's weird
in
is
rehearsal?
that it only happened. I don't even think it happened during any other show. I think this was maybe the one night it happened. Is that right, Tyler? Maybe it happened during one other show. But I
okay.
I remember because I think that's like a G sharp. And at that point, like, that was the highest I could even imagine.
I mean, because Being Alive doesn't go higher
Being
than
Alive,
G, I believe.
Might be the same. I think that might be a G sharp as well.
It might be, yeah.
But that's the highest Bobby goes in the show. So I was like, oh my God, it's the opening number, and it is so. So anyway, I remember being so horrified and like just knowing that it was filmed, because you always know when the night is filmed,
right?
And
exactly.
it's like, oh my God, you're killing me, because it wasn't like this happened every show. It was like this happened during. I love how I'm like trying to defend myself still.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, okay, so my 17-year-old self definitely could do it.
So we next have, of course, Someone Is Waiting. I will say, again, I mean, this no voice crack sounded great. You did your moment of, I think maybe this was direction, maybe this was just your era, but you loved to stick your arms out in just a very, just like sort of zombie-esque.
Lots of arms. Lots of waving.
You did go to the School of Arms sticking out.
School of Arms.
There was just a lot
I remember,
I could pause at any moment here, and your arm is
so many arms out like this, and like my like shoulders aren't back, so it's like I'm constantly look like I'm reaching, like, and I just look so young. It's like I think I was maybe trying to be old by being expressive, but it only made me look so little. Like this is a child on stage.
They also could have like fitted your costume better. Like
I know, I'm looking now and I'm like,
either.
like it doesn't really look like it's fitting, is it?
Yeah. It's not, and again, like that is not your fault. You were
oh my God,
17.
I'm not taking blame for any of this. Even stuff that is my fault, I'm like, not my fault anymore.
Right, you were a child, and you're looking back, and you know.
No, this is really fun.
Bobby at 17, that's
cathartic as
beautiful.
Which also, and while I have you here, just because I saw it yesterday, Yesterday I saw that
Hostage.
video. I saw the video that you did with the Try Guys of Agony, and I was like, I mean, I guess I don't hear you sing that much, but I was like, oh my god, like he has such an amazing voice.
Oh my god, that is really nice.
After I heard the voice crack, I was like, I think I need to let you redeem yourself. So I went to like just listen to you sing, and I was like, oh my god, your voice has matured in such a lovely, beautiful way.
It is definitely, it improved so much.
Again, but also, why are we even like obviously we don't even have to say that your voice has improved. Like, of course it has improved.
I still love to hear it. I will take the compliment.
I was like, I understand why this is a role for a 35-year-old man.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Maybe there's a reason.
It's unfair to ask a 17-year-old to do this, but like you stepped up to the plate,
I stepped up.
And you did what you had to do.
I was like Broadway ready. I really thought I did something with this.
Oh, of course. If you put on Company and it's like even a little bit successful, your thought after the show, and correct me if I'm wrong, has to be like, we actually are a professional theater company.
No, we are. I'm like,
what's
what's amazing is that the Y could actually be taking out, and then this is just the musical theater company. Yeah,
right, exactly. Yeah.
So we're on to another 100 people.
Yes.
Which is one of my favorite songs in the show.
Oh, good. People hate this song.
Oh, I love this song.
I love this song.
Marta, please tell me this is a wig.
It's a wig.
Please tell me this is
a wig.
Thank God. Because otherwise I would have been so mean about her hair.
Oh my God, help.
Here's my question about Marta, if you have insight into this. What type of person was she basing this role off of?
Oh my God, that's a really good. I wish I remembered.
Why would he know this?
No, like I don't know if it came up in rehearsal because it's like
I think like she was spunky.
Maybe sort of Daphne from Scooby-Doo, because that's clearly what the
outfit is
based
giving.
off of.
The outfit is totally giving. I think just like spunky, who like I'm not like other girls, because sometimes she's played like goth, sometimes she's played like hippie, but here she's really just played like wacky. She's like a wacky girl.
She was like, and I could kind of understand like, oh, I know this type of like, I love New York. It's the most interesting city in the world. I feel like I've never seen like a perfect take on this character, even and then in the revival where it's a guy doing it, I didn't like what they did with the guy. So I just never, but it's like, I kind of get what she was going for here, but it was just like insane.
Yeah.
Like
she was wow. No, she went like, we're going to make this girl a little bit like a screw is loose.
Yeah. I do have to pull out when I think the fear in her eyes when she has to say like gays, Jews, Hispanics, Arabs on a stage where there is a sea of white faces.
Oh my goodness.
It plays
New York has everyone.
This is in Berkeley. It was a Berkeley-based theater company, so we were all very like it's very politically correct. So like I remember.
Yeah. But maybe that was also part of the reason where I was like, oh, this is definitely why you were so explicit about it being set in the 60s, because you're like, we would never say that now, but like they would say this.
You're totally right.
Yeah. Let's just hear her say this.
I am like the soul of New York.
Oh, here's the knocking. The knocking's back.
The knocking's back.
See, smart remarks do not a person make.
Okay.
How many Puerto Ricans do you know?
Well, let's see. There's a guy at work.
How many blacks?
This audience is silent.
Meet people like myself.
God! Talk about the thing!
Yeah, I guess I didn't get the exact moment where she said gays, Jews, Hispanics, Arabs, but I got enough.
No, I think it's about to come up.
It's about to come because she lists them. She lists her
at an hour 50.
Okay, here we go.
Gays, Jews, Hispanics.
And also the fact that she has to be, I know that she's in a diction competition makes it even funnier.
Oh yeah, it's like we gotta get the words out.
Yeah. Oh, you're hearing what she's saying.
There's one note I wanted to hear because it's when she says train at the end, it's so, and it was it's not intentional, but this was at the era of 2016. It sounded so specifically like Vanessa Bayer doing like a child actor kind of like, she's like, train. And she generally really sells this song.
Yeah.
This song is so hard. It's like cuckoo bananas.
Cuckoo bananas, just like her.
The take, yeah, cuckoo bananas.
And another 100 people just got off the train. And another 100 people just got off the train. Another 100 people just got off the train. Another 100 people just got off the train.
She held it to the end. I'm not even going to let the button come because I have to point out that Everyone is in the dark. Please, the lighting. Why is
I
it
definitely
dark
think
like this?
that in person it must have
Yeah.
looked lighter, and that like
I'll give me
because
okay.
I'm looking here and I'm like, this is the dark, and like they're all very capable like directors and stuff. I'm like, this just looks insanely dark for like a musical comedy. Like it really does look dark. So I'm like, I'm just hoping that as memory serves me right, that is just the camera because woof, it's dark.
I mean, and I do have to say, at the end of this, everyone clapped so loudly for Marta, which that was great. People loved Marta.
Hell yeah.
It felt like a real Marta crowd. Maybe
Marta
she had
crowd.
a lot of family there, or people just thought she slayed, which is beautiful.
The Marta complex.
Marta complex, baby.
And now we have to get into getting married today.
Yeah,
not getting married today.
I wrote before anything. I just wrote buckle up.
Yeah. Put your seatbelt on.
Even before I knew what was gonna come, I was like, we gotta strap in.
And the audience felt that way too, because people, even before the first notes came, everyone who is even a little bit aware of company knows this is coming, and people literally started clapping before she started singing. There was like a big yes, there was like a small applause beforehand. Okay, here we go. Do you hear? They're like laughing.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, here it comes.
Smell it coming.
Yeah.
Can we get a quick bio on the girl
Please.
in this role?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
who I said is the
today
girl who plays,
is for Amy.
Mm-hmm.
I said is the girl who plays Amy named Rachel in real life. That would make sense.
Her name is actually Fiona.
Equally, it makes sense.
Yes.
Makes sense.
And I remember this was her first show at YMTC, if I'm not mistaken, and
oh my god,
which came. How do I remember this? I think she went to school in Lafayette, which is like near, but it's a Bay Area place, and I believe she went to. I actually know what high school. I'm not going to say what high school, Tyler, you idiot. So anyway, she I think was doing her high school shows, decided to audition for Company, and then did Company, and she was super sweet and very, very like. Took it seriously. Like she was very intense. I remember her really drilling this song. Like she drilled it every chance. You have to.
How would you not?
She was like, because they also were like, we want to do it at tempo. Like we don't want to slow it down for you.
Yeah.
Because they were Sondheim purists, so they weren't going to change anything. We'll get to more of that later. But yeah, Fiona, she such a sweetheart, took it very seriously, and she delivered. Yeah.
I was, even before first of all, the person who, I don't remember the character's name, who sings the operatic, like, in interstitials, they put her in a graduation robe, which I thought was sort of a hilarious costuming choice. I also, overall, I mean, this was a moment when I did, after we watched this, I showed my girlfriend the video where Sondheim is like directing.
Yes.
There's a video of Sondheim directing this number, and I was just imagining Sondheim directing like high schoolers to do this number, and trying to imagine like what that would have looked like.
Yeah, like what would he say?
So even before, I was like, yeah, what even could he have said to a 17-year-old? But also plug for literally anyone who has not seen that video, just search Sondheim not getting married. Yeah. Okay, Jacob, but I can sense you itching to speak now.
There's a great contest line. I don't know where it is. Maybe the song is over at this point. She says, someone says, I'm 31 and perfect.
I don't remember that.
I remember. So Amy says, I'm 31. And then Kobe, who is Paul, says, and perfect. And then she's like, ugh. She's like, stop. Yeah, that kind of thing.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like this, again, was probably a moment where, similarly to how you had your voice crack on the one filming night, she got slightly ahead of the music, and I was like clutching the couch.
Oh,
like,
it's so scary. It's so scary when you're watching
the whole time, sweating, like heart palpitating. We can just play a minute, but again, I don't want to harp on her.
Oh my god, of course, no one would ever blame her. Like, no, of course not. It's just one of those things. Yeah.
Like
I see Broadway shows and it happens all the time.
I have heard professional singers.
Of course,
not
it's sort of inevitable sometimes. But
so we
shade.
can just get to. Yeah, I guess, you know what, let's just go back to where I was and have her just the first like few seconds of it. She got too excited. She got ahead of it.
Oh my, of course, anticipating.
Getting married.
But part of me is everybody there, because if everybody's there, we'll not thank all for coming to the wedding. And I appreciate your going even more. I mean, you must have lots of better things to do, not work.
Like she gets back on it, but at the beginning I was like, the first 10 seconds of that song, I'm clenched. Every part of my body is clenched,
and it's stressful enough to watch. So it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Did she have braces?
She. Oh my god.
Because if she did,
that's insane.
That is torture.
Yeah.
I don't
think do this song.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'd be able to figure it out, but I don't remember.
It sounded like in the first verse. It sounded like she
might
had
have
braces, and I was like, if she has braces, like this is a
Can you
unique
imagine
kind
how
of
hard?
torture.
That is
Oh,
what
yeah.
hell is. Like you have to do a Sondheim powder song with
her
braces
mouth
on.
must have been her mouth must have been cut up.
No,
if that was the case.
no, there's
Blood.
no way.
Yeah.
Blood spewing.
She's like she needs a spit bucket right off stage.
Help!
Yeah.
Oh my god, no. I think she didn't. Oh my god, but now I'm picturing her with braces and it looks right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you.
It's revisionist history. Please
Yeah.
do. So also I love that Paul is so short. And
Oh
looks
yeah,
12.
it's sweet.
He is short king. It really fits for the character too. It's like he's sort of a simp. So it does actually fit. He's 12 and they've dressed him like a server. Like without the suit jacket,
Without
he
the
looks
suit
a little
jacket.
bit like a waiter, which I love. Yeah, I have nothing else to say except
amazing.
I
Brava,
can't-
brava,
yeah,
Fiona,
brava.
So then we have the most nervous flower toss in theater history.
Oh my god.
Which brings us into Marry Me a Little. So she throws the flowers in a way where it's like, you can't not catch these.
Yeah.
Which is not interesting in a podcast medium, but but just watch it yourself. So then now we are at Act 1 closer, Marry Me a Little. A song which, correct me if I'm wrong here, is not in the original company.
No,
like
it was cut from the original production, and they brought it back for
in the 90s.
In the 90s for the
was
it who directed it? Was it Sam Mendes? No, who directed that? John. No, I know it wasn't John Doyle. It might have been. I don't remember, but it was the roundabout production in the 90s with like Jenna Krakowski and Kate Burton and all that. So they and LaShawn. So they brought it back and they just put it back in the end of Act 1.
It's one of my favorite songs.
It's gorgeous. I mean, you can hear me listening.
Scott
hear me singing
Ellis.
it.
Was the director.
Scott Ellis. I was like, that's
go.
not right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so he. So again, as I mentioned, Sondheim purists, and the song is so low for me. Like, and
I was gonna say it.
Neil Patrick Harris.
First note was just, "Oi,
it's
this
so
is
low." And Neil Patrick Harris sings it up in his version. They just raised the key, and I was like, "Can you please raise it?" And they're like, "Nope." I think they were just like that wasn't something they really. Like, even that was never on the table. It's like, you will be singing the original key. But then when I did it in college the year after, they did raise the key. Thank God.
Thank God.
Yes.
There's just no reason to torture you. We can. I mean, if you don't mind, I'm gonna play just a short bit.
Give the
me.
people what they want.
The moment when I was like, "Oy vey, this is so low for you." Here we go.
God.
Okay.
It's
I look fierce right here.
Yeah.
The light is
and
just
the
right.
Arms.
Arms out. Arms
slightly
accepting
out.
God. Yeah.
Truly.
Okay. Oh. You're fighting for your life.
Seriously.
Free. Yeah, like that.
That's the way it ought to be.
Oh my
You're
God.
doing the
I'm
best you
fighting
can.
for my life.
Yeah.
In that lower register. Holy crap.
Other than it being too low for you, and I'm sorry that
you can
they
see
didn't
my
raise
disgust
it.
on my face.
You're absolutely upset. Is that the I've never seen this in a filmed production before, but the lights go up and then the tape keeps going for a minute and we see just dads dancing in the
There's an amazing
in the theater.
123:20 great shot of a guy dancing.
Yes, yeah, okay, here we go.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
Here it comes. Because they wanted the orchestra to play through to the very end of the score in this moment. So they let it go. Here it comes. Oh
my God, dancing up.
Yes. It's a man in a Hawaiian shirt, sort of Jimmy Buffett style, absolutely vibing up the stairs. Did you recognize that dad?
I don't.
Was that a dad you recognized?
I tragically don't. I really wish I did.
That's okay.
Classic Berkeley dad, though. That is classic Berkeley dad.
I've in my imagining, that's
so
exactly
rich.
right. Okay, Act 2. We're on to Act 2.
And we move.
And we go. We have to do your a choreography corner is one of our big segments for the slide you do in.
Oh my God, I know
when you say side by side by
exactly what you're
side
talking
by
about.
side. The slide
By
happens 20.
I slide so much.
A slide by side.
Slide by slide by slide.
So, is it ice skating?
Yeah, what's the concept here?
Oh
Should
my
we
God,
should we just play it?
Please play it. Oh my
Okay.
God. I
You do it
remember
100 times.
so
And was there even a
many
choreographer
times.
in
There
this
was.
production?
No, the thing is, there was.
Okay,
There was.
let's see. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you're very bent over.
So much.
Yes.
I'm about to bottom.
Oh, here we go.
He's my best friend.
Slide number 2.
Second best.
Oh,
Lots of grapevining.
yeah. Oh, there you go. That harmony that they did on 7 Times a Godfather could have been workshopped.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was. I think the goal was soft shoe. I remember that being
Yes.
the word thrown around. And I am not a dancer. And I remember I had to learn the Shirley Temple for this. And I think I do it maybe once. And you can't see it. It's like way too far away. But
the Shirley Temple, an iconic dance move. Yeah.
an iconic move. And I remember being, there was so much sliding. And it's so much time of me staged down here. And I remember I loved singing this song because it was like so well within my range. Like it never scared me. But I do remember feeling really stressed every night about this like chore. I'm like, is this charming anyone? Because I feel like a fool. Like I feel like it's so silly.
It felt really like this should, if there was a middle school production of Company, like this would have been the choreo, but it did feel a little juvenile.
Yeah, it was, and it didn't need to be this. Like it could have,
Yeah.
like there didn't even need to be choreo in the beginning. It could have just been me being funny and like sipping a drink. I don't know. It just so
Exactly.
I look back and yes.
I'm seeing a chat from Jacob that's saying he has to leave in 20 minutes. So
Unfortunately, I have to leave it, which I hate. I'm so mad about.
We need to do the top line stuff for the rest of it.
Let's.
I mean, do we just skip forward to when you fuck on stage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have What Do We Do About You? We have, and then we're at Poor Baby, and then it's some simulated sex.
If I was a parent, I would be out of there.
Out.
I could not have walked out fast enough.
And this is
Please
an
tell me, was
optional
there an
number.
intimacy? Was there an intimacy coordinator? Yeah.
No. No. Absolutely not. Of course not.
Can we perhaps go to 149.51?
149. Oh yes, 'cause there's more. There's
basically because it's not just. It is the perfect culmination of like the child sex stuff with like a dream ballet of people saying "I love you" with the terrible lighting of this production.
The lighting the lights are
fully
down
in the dark.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, so the lights are down right now. We're seeing it's sort of a hospital bed on the stage.
Oh my God, it really does.
Which
look like
I love
hospital.
I love the fiction that Bobby sleeps in a twin bed. Like he's never there, so he is sleeping in a twin bed.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Okay, let's see.
And I actually wait before you play. I do
Okay.
have one because I need to pick the brain of someone who's played Bobby because this is never answered. What is Bobby's job
In the show?
Yeah, does it say? But two, what is
Bobby's
his
job in the show? It doesn't. They don't tell you. It's so the way this show. I'm going to be brief. The way the show came about is that George Firth, who's the book writer, he.
Don't worry. We told the audience this in an introduction.
Oh my
about
God!
how
Do
he
you know
wrote
that
the
how
11
it was
one-act plays? Yes.
Oh my God! Okay,
yes.
so exactly. So it's one of those things where Bobby just happened to be a vehicle in which to make all this make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like his job is sort of to listen and to wax about about relationships. So he is supposed to be, I don't know, I think because it goes someone is waiting, marry me a little, and being alive. So it goes first from someone out there and is perfect and exists, and they're the perfect versions of all my friends, and they exist, and I'll be there soon, like wait for me, but also hurry up because it's also your job to hurry up to me. Then marry me a little is like, okay, actually I am ready to commit as long as it's a little bit and on my terms. And then being alive is like, I literally don't care, just someone. So I think his job is supposed to be like a person, like the cynic in all of us about love.
Yeah.
And
were you, Jacob, asking about his role on the
so
stage
that
or his career?
Oh my God.
So that's a great emotion. That is a
What
great
did
emotional.
you mean? What did you mean? I was still ready to
was
give
a-
you my analysis.
No, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. We needed that.
Okay,
too.
good.
That
But
was
Jacob,
needed.
please tell me what you meant.
That was a fantastic
I'm horrified.
dramaturgical response.
Help.
And actually did great. That was such like a beautiful, like pithy summation of this character in the show.
Thank you.
I was referring to what is his career.
We don't.
Oh my
how is
God!
Tyler
I
supposed
thought
to
you
know
meant
that
job. Oh, his occupation. His occupation.
Occupation.
I
His
kinda
it
thought
never
you were
says in
gonna
the
work
show.
up to
Never
it,
says.
like, yeah.
Never says. Everyone assumes he's in finance or
So
real estate.
this is what I was saying. You played it. Did you have an idea of what is Bobby's job? Like, did you?
I thought
did you
he was in
everything like
finance. I thought he was a
Okay.
Wall Street guy, like, or in banking. Like, it's someone that is that because by the time you're in your 30s, you've done all your bitch work, and then like you kind of can live this bachelor lifestyle where it seems like your job actually matters not at all to you, and it doesn't need to be mentioned. So that's
Yeah.
sort of
Right.
what I did. That he worked some in New York and in finance.
Okay.
Well, that was
So
a beautiful answer. Still.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So,
Thank you
I
for
just
all-
play
Let's
the
play
dialogue.
this.
Play
Let's
it.
play this. Okay. Here it comes. Oh, this now the stage is. Oh,
I love you,
I love you.
Sarah. I love you.
The I love you, David could not have had less emotion in it.
I love you, David.
I love you, Joanne.
I love you, Larry.
I love you, Amy.
I love you. Oh, I love you, Peter.
I love you, Susan.
Oh, do you want me to keep going?
No, I think I got.
Oh, do you want me to continue?
I got more than enough.
Yeah.
And now the stage is dark. Yeah.
This song is optional. They put it in. They put it back in. It's called TikTok, and they put it back in.
Yeah. And for this song, I was saying sort of in my notes, if I, as a parent, I would feel almost comforted by the fact that you were gay, because if there was a possibility of any
Oh my
real
God.
sexual attraction in this
Being,
scene,
like,
I would
hard
have
as
needed,
hell?
I
Yeah,
would have
for
needed
sure.
to leave. Yeah, if you
Oh
were
my
like,
God.
if I was like, this is a straight child and he is like simulating fucking like
They did Spring Awakening like 2 years
child.
later, so
Oh God, no!
Oh,
Please
yeah.
tell me that.
Straight-
oh
straight
God,
man.
it was a
Straight
Jonathan
man.
Groff. No. Okay. Well, never mind then.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the parents clapping at the end of this was not genuine, and we can't blame them for
we
that.
can't. We really
We
can't.
just yeah.
I think should we just skip to Ladies Who Lunch? We don't need to talk about Barcelona.
Yeah,
She has a nice
Barcelona, I mean,
voice. Great.
There's
Yes,
a great.
it's fun.
I identify with those
zoom
kids.
in.
I know you're gonna say I identify with those kids is the line you're pulling out.
I identify
no,
with those
I was saying
kids.
there's a great boot zoom in. There's a great zoom in shot. The camera zooms in on someone's boot in Barcelona.
Okay.
You know, find that.
There
on
was
your
a
own.
lot of great camera work here. Okay, we
Oh my
have to get
God.
to Ladies Who Lunch.
Yeah.
I mean, I have very few notes because honestly, Joanne slayed. Like,
Isn't
she
she
sounded
awesome?
great.
She's
She was
great.
great.
This was
Yeah.
the best that you can do, Ladies Who Lunch, if you are a child.
Yes,
like,
seriously.
I think this
Completely
is-
agreed,
She
yeah.
reached the maximum of it for being a
Yeah,
child.
no,
Like,
for
yeah.
sure. She was truly the all-star of this show.
I'll drink to that. And here's to the girls who stay smart. Aren't they a gas? Rushing to their classes in optical art.
Like,
Yes, like
my
that
parents
amazing
still
job.
talk about her performance. in this.
That's
My parents
so-
like, what
that's
is
so
India
parent,
doing?
yes.
Oh my, her Joanne. Like, they are obsessed with her.
That feels so right because I was always in the ensemble. I was never a main role, and my parents would be like come to all the shows and be whoever the greatest cast member was. They're still to this day texting me like, "Oh, how's Julia Bain doing?" I'm like, I don't know.
No. Yes. The thing is, I actually do know what everyone's doing. Help.
Yeah, I mean, I also do. But
Yeah.
I just can't
okay.
say that I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ladies Who Lunch has some great contest lines in it.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that whole scene
Oh,
does.
yeah.
Oh,
Just
my
to-
first husband. Yeah.
My first husband, 2 bourbons was one. Remember when everyone used to smoke?
Oh, yeah.
Something about that's the best. I don't know what that.
Oh,
but then
it's
my
when she smokes her cigarette and she's like, oh, that's the best.
Yes.
And then this might have been my favorite. This might have been the one that took.
Oh my God, it
the
wins?
cake for me.
Okay.
The one I'm about to say.
Okay, let's hear it.
ready.
Wildly conceited broad.
Wildly conceited broad.
And it's specifically broad. It's something about that guy.
Broad.
It's calling a woman a broad. She's
broad.
a wildly conceited broad.
Yeah. Oh my
Like,
God, that is so true. That's a really good line.
So I mean, we're at Being Alive. We are at Being Alive.
We're not being alive. We are at being alive. Yeah.
I think my notes are less about you and more about, and again, this is not Sondheim's fault. I would say, is it George Firth? Was that the book writer? What's
George
his name?
Firth.
Yeah, Firth. Everything people say in the interstitial moments always makes me laugh. Like it's like the person, whoever says "add 'em up, Bobby, add 'em up,"
Bobby,
could not have
add 'em
slayed
up.
less in that moment. They were just
so
like, I'm
tough
saying
because
words.
they're so earnest, and you have
Yeah.
like, and because it's musical theater, like you can get away with it. But it's one of those things where either you're gonna like, it's so much on the actor's delivery of it to not be trite. Like but they're really trite, the lines, and so you just have to, I don't know, they do it with or throw it away more than you think you should. It's really tough trying to make these make sense.
My brother and I will do a game sometimes where it's being alive, but just the lines leading up to it. Like you try to like go back and forth and just keep improving lines that would like be the interstitials of being alive.
That's such
great
a
game.
good game. I can't believe. Wait, okay, so we'll play that at some point. Perfect.
Yeah, I have an actor's note. So please, you get to being. I mean, being alive is other than Ladies Who Lunch, like the iconic moment of the show,
Yes.
really, and not getting married. But anyway. Like, do you ever feel as yourself being this, like, did you feel at rest at all before being alive, or did you feel like how much of the show was just you waiting for being alive to come on?
Weirdly enough, being alive wasn't the stress point for me. But it was really the opening number was the scariest for me. It was like, okay. That also goes for when I did it again. I think Marry Me a Little started to scare me once the key was up in college. But I would say, yeah, the scary Someone Is Waiting. I'm doing a solo show this summer and I'm going to be singing Someone Is Waiting. Like, I love that song so much. I feel very confident with that song. Being Alive, it was always scary about the bing, but that's the highest it goes. So like, in the last note, like la is more like I think or an F or something. So I knew I was always going to be able to sing that. So it never really scared me. I don't know. Yeah, that's a great question though.
It feels like so much of the show is leading up to
this
and then
cathartic
after,
moment.
like, and you just can't. I mean, but yeah, like, are you treating it like when you're acting it? Are you treating it differently as like this is my final moment?
Jacob, this is too. You just want to be
this
Bobby. This is too.
Jacob, you'd be an amazing
like
Bobby.
sucking
No, it's
vicariously trying.
Suck it out of me. No, I this is a great question, and I think
it's not.
Yeah,
that's so nice of you to say, Jacob. Though,
because I'm remembering. Yeah, like I remember because Bobby has to be so passive the entire show, and then all of a sudden you get this really active
agency.
song.
Yeah.
So it is really nice. So yes. So leading up to it is fun because you really feel like you can sink your teeth into it because you're not, for the first time in the show, you're not being wishy-washy and you're like making statements. So yeah, like Somebody Hold Me Too Close, like Crowd Me With Love. Yeah, that it felt good and that it was like the entire show is leading up to this moment. So yes, Jacob.
Thank you for answering. Jake has her fists clenched.
Yeah, I'm like you. So this is the cake. Anyway, this is the close-up.
Oh my God, here it is.
That lasts for
of
a
the
full
world's
minute.
smallest.
It's so
it's
small.
so grainy. It's so small. My question is: so after the close-up of the cake, after you are using a lighter to light the cake and light the candles, a real lighter, how many times did that not work? Because I was sort of shocked that it did work.
It always worked. Always. It never did.
Oh
work.
my God.
So you'll notice,
Wow.
do you see, oh my God, this is another giveaway that I had smoked weed before. Do you see how I'm holding
Okay.
the lighter? Because I hold the
'Cause I
lighter
can
like
show-
that way that like people who smoke weed or like that know that you won't burn your thumb. So it's the way where you do it like at an
here we
angle.
go. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Wait. Here comes the lighter out of your.
The lighter's
Oh,
out of
you're
the
already
pocket.
like futzing with the lighter.
Yeah, I'm like this doesn't scare me.
Yeah, no. Here it goes. Yeah, that should have been a tell because you were very.
But it's hard. Now I'm looking at it. It's like grainy as hell. So it's like. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
hard
and
to
there you
tell.
go. You
do you
hold
see
it,
that?
You hold it in. Yes, that was
imagine
very
there's like a
expert.
bowl.
Yeah, that's all the practice was smoking from a bowl. It's like exactly that.
Yeah.
So
I was literally like, your parents would have been like, oh
yeah,
no.
why is he?
Like, yeah.
It's like a theater tricks. It's like not a theater trick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it always worked. It always worked.
So funny.
That's beautiful. I also, so at the very end, you do get a standing ovation, which, that obviously. And it's so funny to see, because we can see basically the whole we stop being able to see the bows at a certain point because the camera has to go above you.
Yes.
And we end up seeing there are some stragglers. There are some parents who don't stand up till like the very last moment that they can stand up.
Some
like there
straggler.
Are some who,
okay.
Yeah, so some who maybe had a bit of a contrarian view of the show.
I see.
I mean, Jacob's gonna have to go in a minute. Let's just final thoughts. Can you what was this experience for you, like Tyler, of looking back on this production?
I'm not like super into astrology, but I am a Cancer, and I know that a lot of people that are Cancers like love nostalgia. They constantly are thinking about the past, constantly doing that. So you'll notice like I remember a lot about this stuff, and I like remember everyone's name. So the thing is, I constantly am thinking about this period of my life, and I do think it's all very. Because I can look back and be kind to my younger self. I was so hard on myself during this time of my life.
Yeah.
And anytime I'm working on anything, I'm always like when I'm in it and I have no perspective. So looking back and seeing how much I've grown since then is really comforting. And I was so proud of this performance. And I remember thinking, like, this is my magnum opus. Like, this is my peak. I don't.
You're never gonna get better.
I'm never gonna get better than I do the same role less than a year later. But
right, yeah.
But I don't know. It makes me happy, and it also like it reminds how much I've grown. Like I wasn't always a top-notch performer. Like you grow into it. Sometimes I get in my head about people who are in high school and in Dear Evan Hansen. Like I just that doesn't make any sense to me. Some people just like come into it a little bit later into their voices, into their instruments.
Yeah.
And
I would say that's
nice.
extreme, more normal, and probably
exactly.
healthier.
But I think we're only hearing these stories of like people. I mean, we're still young. We are. So anyone who's like our age that's thriving, that started early, like it doesn't like compute. So looking back and being like, no, I like am a professional actor now and it works, and all this training led up to something. It is actually really nice, and I actually love. That's partly why I love looking back. And if I were in high school listening to this, I'd be like, oh my god, like the training doesn't end once you graduate high school. Like it begins.
That's such an important thing for high schoolers to know.
Yeah. Yes,
it is this that only so recently did I kind of actually have it click for me where I was like, oh, you can improve beyond like
thank you for saying that, because why is that only sort of recently hit me too?
I know you saying that was when I realized
but it is like there was just something about high school theater where I just felt like, and as much as I loved it, I was like, well, my talent is my talent, like this is what I was born with, and this is what that
is sort of how it is, because I remember being so frustrated, being like, why are these people so far ahead of me? I feel like I can't help it. I feel like my voice just doesn't want to do what these voices are doing, and it's very frustrating. And I remember feeling, because you have zero control over it, and you can train all you want, but like sometimes you're just not ready to sound the way you're supposed to sound.
You are also like, especially as guys, you two were probably midway through.
Oh my god, you can hear it. You can hear it. But I was like, oh my god, this is how my voice is always gonna be. And I'm like, and I didn't know what a mix was, and anyway, whatever. No. But
people conflate. No, you conflate having your voice dropped with I have a fully developed.
Isn't that funny? Whereas from a actually physical standpoint, like male voices don't stop maturing until you're like 35. Talk about Bobby.
So it's 35. There
35, baby.
There we go.
So I don't know. It's one of those. So to answer your question, I'm such a rambler, but it makes my heart sing. I don't feel any embarrassment or shame by like the silliness, like looking back and realizing all myself. So I love that we were able to talk about that. I think it's all part of the journey that's still ongoing, and I'm sure I'm going to look back at some shit I'm doing now years from now and be like, Tyler, you had so much left to learn, that kind of thing. So I love it. I think it's actually important for people to look back and realize where they came from.
That's such a amazing way of framing it, and I'm so glad that that is how you feel, and that you were such a good sport about that. So thank you so much for coming on the show and for talking about this, and
oh my god,
rescheduling. Do you have anything you want to say this is a new, what do you have to say to your high school self, and B, in this production, and B, anything you have to plug, but
any
first
plugs.
Oh my god. First, what I would say to my high school self is be patient, and to understand that the sooner you find out who you are, the easier it will be for you in this industry, as opposed to the other way around. I think I was totally trying to be a version of myself, especially as a performer, and I was really in college, especially, kind of put into a box of someone who's very serious, or like a not a character actor, which is funny because now I'm all about comedy and stuff, but I really didn't play a lot of those roles in college. So I think if I had come into my comedic self earlier and just trust that being funny is actually worth something in musical theater too, like, because often it feels like it doesn't matter, then
I mean, you were
trust.
set off to a bad start of being Bobby twice and the most
being like the least
serious
like
role.
seriously just in a musical comedy, like a serious, like he gets like he's a straight
yeah.
man, so I was cast as only pretty much straight men, both in both senses of the word. So it was so that's what I would tell him. It's just like lean into your humor, like that's actually gonna be a secret weapon later. And what
I love that.
To plug, I don't know, just watch my videos. I make videos about theater. They're almost
if
all.
you're listening to this podcast, you need to go.
Please.
Also, if you're listening. Well, also, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't at some point seen one, like that just feels impossible. It's like what we said about the Jimmy Awards.
Oh my
God!
God.
You know the Jimmy Awards.
So please,
anyway.
watch it.
But
and then,
continue. Yeah.
And then I'm doing my first ever solo show this summer. I haven't announced it yet, but it's this summer. So keep your eyes peeled. I'll announce it on my social media and stuff. So when tickets go out,
keep your
please
damn
come.
eyes peeled.
Damn eyes
Well,
peeled.
thank you, Tyler.
Thank you
this has
both.
been such a pleasure. And I'm gonna stop the recording now, but
Perfect.
stay for 1 second. Wait.
To hell.